I love the 1911. I hate the 1911. And here are 5 reasons why. Hello everybody, welcome back to LocaCarnivore. We're glad you could join us. We know your time is valuable. We appreciate you spending it with us. We know you're smart because you're watching us here at LocaCarnivore. Just a quick reminder, we'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to our channel, give us a big thumbs up like, make sure you ring that little bell so you'll be notified every time we have a new video out. I'm sure you don't want to miss it. Don't forget to share this video with all your friends. Just pass it out there. Let's make this thing go viral. Remember to go down in the comments, tell us what you think. Also, give us some suggestions on what you would like to see us do in future videos. We would really appreciate your input on that. And remember, we don't have any support other than you at Patreon, so please, there's a link down in the description. Give us a little love, and if you contribute at the appropriate level, you'll receive a free book as well as other goodies. Don't forget to support us on our website over at LocaCarnivore.com. The link's down in the description as well. We would appreciate you visiting. There's a lot of great content over there that you're not going to get necessarily on the videos. If you're looking for a design that's been proven through a long history of service, both in the military and law enforcement, look no further than the 1911. This thing has proven itself on battlefield after battlefield. It has served with us from all of America's wars, whether they were small and maybe perhaps ill-conceived, to the larger wars where we had no choice but to fight. And all during those wars, it has proven itself to be a reliable, functional, accurate enough for the job gun. Let's assume that it was never replaced by the Beretta in 1980, what was it, 85 or so. Our soldiers would still be well armed with this gun if that's what they had to use. It's a great gun. In fact, if you look, a lot of special operations organizations still use the 1911. I'm told that FBI HRT still uses the 1911, and there's a lot of police agencies that still either, especially when it comes to SWAT type units, that still issue or allow the 1911 pistol to be used. So it's not a bad design. It's been proven time and time again, decade after decade. If you want a gun that's been there and done that, it's got the t-shirt and the hat, this is your gun. Let's talk about the age of this pistol. The 1911 is roughly 120 years old. If you consider the fact that John Browning did some of the basic design work which led to this gun starting in roughly 1903. It's now 2023, 120-year-old gun. This gun was serving with, depending on when you were born, potentially your great-great-great-grandfather carried one of these in the Army or the Marines or the Navy. That doesn't mean it's a great gun. That just means it's freaking old. This thing's an antique. Compared to modern designs, there's no contest whatsoever. This thing is just, it shows its age. Yeah, if you baby it, you massage it, and you make sure that everything's exactly right on it all the time, every time, it'll do okay for you, I suppose. But there's so many better ways now to get to where this gun gets you to. So in reality, should we keep this gun around? Well, I suppose if you're a die-hard, stick-in-the-mud type person, and you just keep eating those memberries, as they said in South Park. Remember when the 1911 was the only pistol in the U.S. military? Remember when the Beretta wasn't even around and nobody even wanted that thing? That sort of, if you're that kind of person, yeah, get a 1911. I mean, you'll feel comfy, and you might as well get that, and you can put it on when you get into your 1955 DeSoto to go down to the grocery store or whatever you're going to do. But this gun's an antique, and it's about time that we just, tip our hats to the service it provided, but say it's time to move on. Let's put it in the museum and get on with better, more modern designs like we have now. Let's talk about reliability in the 1911 pistol. This gun has a lot of detractors out there. The anti-1911 crowd will tell you this gun is unreliable. to the point of why should you even bother carrying it? It's just simply not going to go bang ever when you ask it to. Well, I hate to say it, but the gun is actually quite reliable if it's properly maintained and been properly put together. Also, if you can get a 1911 with a fully ramped barrel, i.e. the feed ramp is built into the barrel chamber mouth, all of the high-power Browning, the P35, they're even more reliable. If you maintain this gun, i.e. and keep it lubricated correctly, and feed it properly designed ammunition, and ammunition that you've proven it works with this gun, and any gun needs to be proven with the ammunition you carry in it, it will work. In addition to that, even if you don't have hollow points, and we're not going to get into this big argument about hollow points versus full metal jacket, but when push comes to shove, if you need absolute reliability out of this gun, using standard military ball, full metal jacket ammunition will give you as good a reliability as any other design out there. That other guy doesn't have a clue. The 1911 is a reliable pistol? Are you kidding me? This thing never met a hollow point that it absolutely likes. I'm telling you that right now. I've had multiple 1911s that over the years that simply would not run with hollow points, no matter how many gunsmiths I had take them apart, ramp them, do throat work, on and on and on. The design was never intended to run hollow point ammunition. It was designed for full metal jacket military style ammunition. Granted, it's reasonably reliable, but I have a lot of admittedly anecdotal evidence from people who've served with this gun, and they have told me that the gun could never be completely trusted. They had seen the weapon under combat conditions fail to feed correctly. Despite its reputation as a war-winning wonder gun, the reality is this gun can fail you when you need it most, especially if you don't maintain it. Modern designs aren't as finicky as this. You take any striker-fired gun, I'm going to just say the word Glock, now here come the fanboys, but I can say the word Glock, and you just give that a modicum, just basic maintenance, just a little bit of lubrication now and again, clean it once in a while. The thing has a reputation for being just running and running and running. Could it fail? Yeah, it's mechanical, anything can fail. But the modern pistol designs, i.e. just about anything that was designed after World War II, will exceed the 1911 in reliability by a wide margin. Another thing I love about the 1911 is the weight. I mean, this gun is made completely from steel. Yeah, there's some lightweight versions, but we're going to kind of ignore that for the moment because those flop around like a fresh caught trout in your hand when you shoot them with serious loads in them. Empty, this gun weighs 39 ounces. Yeah, that's a lot and people would complain about it, but the reality is that weight helps you considerably when you're keeping this gun on target in rapid fire. That weight dampens the recoil substantially, and when you're shooting heavy 45 loads or especially 10 millimeter loads, that's a big plus. You don't get that recoil damping capability in a lighter gun, especially in the polymer guns. So the weight of this gun is not a drawback, it's actually a positive attribute. Is that other guy kidding or what? The weight of this thing is a positive? Give me a break. 39 ounces. That's almost 2.5 pounds roughly of gun. That's insane. We've come up with better ways to do this now. Modern technology has negated the need to make a gun out of all steel because modern materials hold up under the recoil and it can be lighter and more efficient. Also, 39 ounces, I mean, think about that. Empty, that's empty. This gun weighs what a fully loaded Glock 21 in 45 ACP weighs, and the Glock has twice the ammunition on board. That's before you even put the ammo in this gun. Are you kidding me? The weight on this thing is a brick. You want to carry this thing around all day? I don't think so. One reason why I really like the 1911 pistol is its overall size. It's a full-size gun, and the advantages that this provides to you is a longer sight radius than what you would get with a micro or a subcompact gun, and that enables you to hit your target more accurately. The other thing I like about the size is that when you're carrying this pistol, especially if it's concealed, when it's on your hip, inside your waistband, this longer barrel will tip the grip of the gun into your side, helping to conceal it further. Also, we have a full-size grip. This means you can get all of your hand on the weapon for a proper firing grip and to control the recoil of the gun. One of the things that I absolutely hate about the 1911 is its size. This thing's enormous. How are you going to carry this thing? Yeah, the other guy had blah 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 about it, you know, does this and does that because it helps you conceal it and everything. But reality is this thing's just a huge gun. There are smaller and better alternatives to this gun. Let's talk about the safety features of the 1911 pistol. This gun, I like to tell people, this gun is one of the safest guns ever designed. If you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, the thing will hurt you in a heartbeat. But if you know what you're doing and you know how to operate the pistol properly, this thing is extremely safe. It's one of the safest guns ever designed. It has a thumb safety, a grip safety, and if you have a Series 80 or better action, you have an additional firing pin block in the gun, which will not allow that firing pin to go back until the hammer's all the way back and the trigger's been fully depressed to release the hammer. In other words, when you intentionally, hopefully, want to fire the gun. It's an extremely safe pistol. There's also an anecdotal story, which, to be honest with you, I haven't been able to track it down as to its veracity. Some of you might want to do a little more research on it. Get back to us in the comments. Let us know if it's real or not. But at least it's an apocryphal story of when they were testing this gun during the trials before it was adopted. This would be like 1909, 1910 when they were testing this gun against other rivals at the U.S. Army. Supposedly, they cocked the weapon and put the safety on it and then tossed this thing off the roof of a building at least once. And the story goes, I've heard versions of the story that says they tossed it off multiple times and the gun never once had the hammer fail and go forward. So it's a very safe gun. Now let's look at these safeties. I'm going to show you basically with the thumb safety, you can put the safety on and off and the hammer's back. So that's called carrying the gun in condition 1, as Jeff Cooper used to call it. It's also referred to as cocked and locked. Basically, you have a live round in the chamber, the hammer's back, the safety's on. The gun is very safe. There's multiple safeties at work. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the other guy's right about the fact that there's a lot of different safety devices in here. And yeah, it's a safe design if you know what you're doing with the gun, which is important with any gun, but particularly this. It's much less forgiving of people who aren't paying attention to what they're doing or don't know how to operate the gun. But the big problem with all these safety devices is they're either not necessary or they could really trip you up in the event you have to use the gun in a gunfight. First of all, let's talk about that thumb safety. That thing can really become a liability. If you forget to push the safety off in a gunfight, suddenly you could have a real problem on your hands. So modern gun designs have eliminated this for the most part, although some people are going back and demanding thumb safeties now on guns which really don't need them, mainly striker fire guns. Let's talk about this grip safety here. Completely unnecessary, completely unnecessary. Why is it on the gun? Because when the gun was being developed, at first, the first iterations that were presented did not have a grip safety. As I understand it, the U.S. Cavalry, which in their day they had all the juice in the United States Army, and if you wanted a career, you had to go through the cavalry. So all the upper echelon officers were generally out of the cavalry. They insisted on a grip safety on the gun. In their opinion, it was required. John Browning says, you don't need this safety. It's stupid. It's extra engineering, it's extra parts, it's dumb. But they insisted, so he dutifully put it on because, well, he wanted to sell the gun, of course, and wasn't a stupid man by any stretch. So it's completely unnecessary. And if you look at the follow-on design, the P35 high power, no grip safety. If you look at just about every other combat pistol out there that's been developed, at least especially after World War II, there are no grip safeties on these guns for the most part. The Springfield XD series being the exception, and one could still argue it's still not necessary on that design. So this is dumb. So there you have it. 5 reasons why you should either love or hate, you should either get or avoid the 1911 pistol? What do you think? What do you think about the 1911? Go down those comments and tell us what you think. Yeah, the fanboys, they're already queued up. They're ready to go. In fact, they're burning down their keyboards as we speak. But let's hear from just people who maybe aren't that familiar with the 1911, and what do you think about it? Would you get one of these, or would you avoid one? Thank you for spending your valuable time with us here at LocaCarnivore. We really appreciate it. And remember, stay aware, stay safe, be kind, and we'll see you next time on LocaCarnivore.